Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. You're watching At Home with Troy. I am Troy, and in today's video, what I wanted to do is go over some ways that I have been able to be a stay-at-home mother for the past 11 years now. Me and my husband have been married for 15 this July, but for the first couple of years I did work, but then after we had our second child, I decided that it was time for me to get out completely, and it's been the best decision ever, in my opinion. So, you guys, I just want to go over some things that we have done over the past decade to pinch pennies, I guess you could say, save a little money so that we can make this lifestyle work for us, because it is it's just a value that we placed as a priority over anything else. So let's get started, you guys. So you guys, I want to give you all transparency and a full disclosure. A lot of these tips are things that I did when we first started out because our income was different. As you all know, I am a military wife. So the longer you stay in the military, you have to get promoted or you are not allowed to stay in. So you have to meet certain requirements so that the Army can promote you. With promotions comes money, and we do live a comfortable life at this time, but to get here took a ton of sacrifice. And so you guys, let's get into these tips. Tip 1 is sacrifice. Now, as I said, when I left the Army and it was just my husband's income, there was a lot of sacrifices that had to be made. So being a stay-at-home mom is not living in the lap of luxury. Even to this day, I'm not sitting with my feet up eating bonbons with a nanny and a housekeeper helping me out. Not at all. It's a life of sacrifice, and we had to give up a lot of things. So keeping on the beat of sacrifice, when we first started out, we had one vehicle and we did not buy it new. We bought it used, and we just decided that repairs would be better than a car note. So for about 5 years, me and my husband operated with one car. My husband, he worked. Whenever he would go to work, I would drop him off. And if he needed a car because he needed to move around that day, then I would make sure that I didn't have any appointments or anything to do so that he could have access to the car. So for about 5 years, we had only one car where we shared it, and we just, coordinated our schedules with each other, because having a car note was not something that we could afford. Having two car insurances was something that it just was not for us. The most obvious way to help with being a stay-at-home mom and to account for everything that you are making is to make a budget. Make it detailed and make it strenuous. What you're going to spend on grocery, make it very detailed. What you're going to spend on, let's say, car insurance. When you buy car insurance, what do you need? What can you live without? Those type of things. Do you need full coverage? Do you need just liability? Can you go without the towing? That type of thing. Everyone, what they're willing to sacrifice and what they're not willing to have is different. But, discuss that with your partner and then make choices that way. But be very, very detailed about how much you spend when it comes to things like utilities, what you're going to spend on gas, what you need to get from point A to point B, nature. So make a budget, stick to it, and be very detailed so that every dollar is accounted for and used wisely. Another thing that me and my husband decided on when I stopped working was that we were not going to live in a place that we could not afford. So like when we were looking for an apartment, we did not care whether our children had a share room. We were completely okay with that. And we were so okay with that because money, was something that, we were trying to squeeze. Me and my husband did not have the master because we had 2 kids at the time. We decided that we'd give the kids the master bedroom because, they needed space to run around and, play and stuff. And every family is different, but I don't have a play area for my kids in my living room. I feel like the living room is space for the family to go to relax, to conversate. It's not a playroom. So So we decided that the children would get the master bedroom so they could have space, so they could play and enjoy themselves. And, as us old people, we would just hang out there and sleep and watch TV. We didn't need space to do much of anything. So, our children, when we lived in a 2-bedroom apartment, had the master while we had the smaller room. And that was another sacrifice that we decided to do. So another thing that we did was cutting back on wants and things that were frivolous. So for an example, cable. And to tell you all the truth, to this day, we do not pay for cable. There are so many like streaming services that are free for like local channels so that we can keep up with like the news and things like that. But we never ever paid for cable because we just felt that it was just, we watched maybe 4 or 5 channels and we're paying, this certain amount of money a month. It was just way too much. Now, our streaming services, we have always only had one up until, I would say, a year ago. Now we have 2 streaming services, Netflix as well as Disney Plus. Those are the only streaming services that I have. I don't have Amazon Prime. I don't have Hulu. I don't have any of that. And we are currently a lot more comfortable than we were a decade ago. But we just decided to keep the same habits because we decided, why would we waste money on something like that? Major way that I have always helped my family out as far as with budgeting and cutting back is I cook every day. Now, I do not cook 3 meals every day. For sure, there are always 2 meals cooked, breakfast and dinner. Lunch a lot of times are cold cuts, hot dogs, and things like that. But us eating out on a regular basis is something that we have never done, and I can assure you, in our future, we probably still will not do that. One, because of the calls, and 2, I feel like I'm at home for a reason, like that's part of me being at home is making sure my family, eats, proper meals every day. So us eating out, is not something that we do on a regular basis. Now, we do have a frozen pizza on Fridays to give myself a break from cooking, and my husband is super health conscious. So on those days, he'll have a salad and something really light. But I do not eat out on a regular basis. Do every blue moon. I'm not saying we haven't been to Olive Garden this year, because we have. But it's not a regular thing. It's meal planning helps because I'm not just spending money. I go into the store with a plan versus just spending, whatever you budget and then maybe not having enough for this or that at the end of the week or the end of 2 weeks, however you do your grocery shopping. But meal planning and cooking every single day is a major way to save money. So you guys, another way that I save my family and my husband a lot of money is with some of my self-care practices. Now, as you all can see, I've got my nails done this week. If you've been watching my vlogs, my husband came back from training and he just wanted to treat me. And so he did have me go out and get my nails done and have a little bit of me time. But this is not something that I do on a consistent basis. But what I do is I invest in gel polish as well as the UV ray light, so I can do my own manicures at home and that they can be lasting. My own pedicures at home, they can be lasting. Just on average nowadays, just going into a nail salon, you're going to spend at the bare minimum $60, and that may not include the tip for them. So it's a lot of money to maintain regularly. So it's not something that I do regularly. But I do invest in the UV ray light as well as the gel polish so that my manicures can last longer. I know everyone isn't equipped, but I also do my own hair. Now, and as you all can see, when y'all see in these videos, my hairstyle changes like every week. I do all my own protective hairstyles. I install my wig units by myself. I pluck, I cut them. I do all that by myself. I do my protein treatments by myself. I do my braids by myself. I can do sew-ins. So all my protective hairstyles I've learned to do throughout the years. So that saves my husband a ton of money. And whatever self-care practice you have, I think it'd be a really good idea to learn how to do that. Invest in the tools that you need, whether it's your eyelashes, as I said, my pedicures, my manicures and things like that, hairstyles, stuff like that. Learn, take the time to learn and do it so that you're not spending, an upwards of $100, on a monthly basis on just, trying to maintain yourself. So you guys, over the years, a major way I have saved a lot of money for our family is I flip furniture. And when I say I flip it, I don't sell it. I take it, whether it's free off the side of the road, or I dumpster dive, or I thrift, and I flip it for my home. And I'm going to show you guys a couple of pieces over here or somewhere on the screen below of a lot of the items that I have flipped. I have flipped my faux fireplace, my TV stand. I flipped that. My liquor cabinet was completely free. I got that from another military wife. The shelf you all see behind me, I've gotten so many compliments and so many questions about that. I found that on the side of the road when we were in Virginia. So many pieces in my home have been flipped, painted, and I've just made them, give them a personal touch, you know. I think I might be able to add some of my DIYs in the cards up here. I'll try to do that just so you can see how I did it. But a lot of my furniture in my home is free or almost free because I got it from a thrift store and I just painted it to the decor that I like. Now, I don't get fabrics and porous things from the thrift store just in general, like maybe a couch or a mattress or anything like that. I don't do that. Maybe some curtains or clothing or things like that. But just in general, most of the furniture in my home was free or nearly free because I thrifted it and I flipped it. Now, I say this a lot in my grocery videos, but I believe that you can apply it to other parts of your shopping as well, is that I buy generic. Now, on average, if you're going to a store, and I know on average we buy more than 40 items when we grocery shop, but let's just say on average you buy 40 items. And when you're buying a national brand versus a generic brand, they're about, let's say, 10 to 20 cents more. So you guys, on the higher end of that, that's about $8 more that you're spending on your grocery bill. And then the lower side is $4. And that's only for 40 items. And the last time I went on my, I was looking at my receipt, I bought an upwards of like 70 items, you know, like, and no, they all weren't big or meat or anything like that. But just in general, if you are buying generic, you are saving, you know, at the bare minimum, $5. And then at the top of that scale, you're probably saving, you know, 10 to 15 bucks if you're buying generic. So with my groceries, I do that. If it's possible, I buy generic. It also goes into my clothing. I know some clothing that, you know, are better quality when you don't buy generic. Now, and everyone's different in how they shop and what their needs are and the quality of the items. But a major thing that I do for my youngest, he is 5 years old. He has nothing name brand that I have bought, maybe a family member or something like that. But the fact that he grows every 60 days and the fact that, like, when it comes to shoes, this boy will kick a brick wall. I am not going to invest, you know, a name brand type of money into a product where I know he's literally going to have a field day in the mud and just tear it apart, because that's just what children do. You know, they don't have any malicious intent, but they're not going to sit there like porcelain dolls. They're going to tear up their things. So I'm not going to invest in that type of money, especially in my young children when it comes to clothing. Now, I have a teenager where she's able to take care of things, and that there are certain products for her that I want to be a certain quality because I want them to last. So for her, I do make an exception for things. So you guys, another way that we as a family save money is with our fun spending, our miscellaneous, our entertainment and things like that. I am big on trying to find things to do as a family that don't cost money and find ways for us to spend time together. Some of my memories from my childhood they did not cost $1. I know one of the biggest things that when we get together on, you know, Thanksgiving, things like that, we always talk about how my father had us doing yard work. And that was family time. And we were young, we didn't realize it, but we made so many memories when we were doing those things. I remember the arguments that me and my sisters would get into, or, you know, sometimes when my parents would side with me and not them. And it was even though we were being productive, it was us spending time together. I remember because me and my little sister were young, and we had like some of the easier chores, like, you know, raking the leaves, where my brothers would, my dad had a 1/4 acre land. So my brothers would be allowed to drive we had a driving lawnmower, and then my sister would be doing something different. But, you know, I remember us doing things together. They were productive, but we still made memories and we're being a family together. So in my home, you know, I try to implement things like that. So around here in El Paso, and I don't know what you may or may not have in your town, but some good ideas are go to landmarks. If you have a lake, if you have, a picnic area, you have things like that, go there and bring a meal, after you've, maybe fried some chicken and had some biscuits, take them out to the park and your family, spend time together like that. My husband and I, we go to the range, and that's almost free. For us, it costs $10, and that's a really nice date night for us. We get a cup of coffee, and then, we practice, our skills, and we're spending time together. And for me, I love a date night at the range. You might want something different, but for me, that's a perfectly good and fine date night. Another thing that I have done with my family is that we will play some type of competitive game together, and whichever team wins, I'll cook what they want for dinner, something like that. So we're really, we really try to come up with ways to spend time together that doesn't cost an arm and a leg. Like going to the movies nowadays, it costs $50. The tickets plus, popcorn and snacks and stuff like that, it costs so much money. So in that way, we try to save a lot of money as well. And I hope these things that I mentioned that my family does to this day, and also a lot of things that we did when we were first beginning out, are helpful to you. Being a stay-at-home parent is not exactly living in the lap of luxury. It's a value, and that value, and a lot of times in this world, we have to make sacrifices to stick to our principles and stick to our values, and to put something above our material wants and comforts. So I hope these things were encouraging. I hope they were definitely useful. So if there are any tips that your family does do, if you are currently a stay-at-home mom and you are just maybe looking for something new, please leave them down in the comments. I would love to converse with you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.